Can we talk briefly about security at the moment with the members of the royal family?
Well, Windsor Castle, yes.
Windsor Castle. So the Sun front page this week, the Windsor estate is vast. The Windsor Castle has got massive walls. You're going to really struggle to get in there, by the way. But the Windsor estate is vast. And a couple of weeks ago, two men climbed over the fence, managed to steal two farm vehicles. They crashed through the gate where William and Kate use quite regularly. That's their Shore Farm gate. That's the one that they'll often take their children to school.
Well, yeah.
We know it well. How worried should the royal family be? And I say this because we had the fella that jumped over the fence at Christmas Day with a crossbow. We had, earlier this year, there was a chap that, it didn't get massively reported because he was held for under the Mental Health Act, but he did get to the garden by Windsor Castle. And now we've got this. It was a late night incident. The Waleses were asleep in Adelaide Cottage. There would be security there. It's an impossible place to defend from burglars, the Windsor estate, because these are fences rather than the walls of the castle.
And it's vast, the estate.
It's vast,
no, of course, yes, I agree, yeah. Well, they must be kind of worried. I bet they've been burning the midnight oil trying to sort that one out. But listen, I mean, Michael Fagan got in the Queen's bedroom at Buckingham Palace. Look, you know, nothing's perfect. And that was all because events just all fell into place where one was going off duty and one was coming off duty and he just walked in the room. Look, this can happen. But, I mean, imagine that's quite frightening. I'm sure William would be quite concerned about that. And I imagine that... but they've got so much security, you know, it's all sort of everything, but smashing through a gate, I mean, that's just incredible.
Yeah, well, I think there's layers of security.
That's right, yeah.
So I think if they'd turned left instead of right,
yeah,
you know, they would have
I think if you'd gone anywhere
police.
near the royal apartments, there would have been, I bet it's very well policed, and I imagine that questions would be asked, but I mean...
Do you think these kind of things would bother Prince William? He's there with his family in Adelaide Cottage with this happening down the road. I mean, this is the kind of thing that could happen to...
Well, the thing is, yes. I mean, look, you know, it is very important to keep the royal family safe, and I imagine William probably had some questions to ask, but I mean, they just went for the public vehicle, for the vehicles, didn't they? Yeah, not to harm anybody.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, I mean, the fear is that maybe they were watching and looking for weak points, but I'm sure the royal family are very protected.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I would imagine they wouldn't have got too close to the house anyway. They've been jumped on,
Good stuff. Now, this week would have actually have been the late Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip's wedding anniversary.
That's right, November, yes.
The both of them have kind of, because events have moved on so quickly since particularly Queen Elizabeth II died and Prince Philip, maybe take a time just to think about their marriage and the kind of success of that couple. They were there for so long, you know, as Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth II. What are your kind of memories, you know, looking back? Because I say, we don't talk about the late Queen or Prince Philip as much as now they've passed as I thought we would. But it's their wedding anniversary. I thought we'd take an opportunity to maybe talk about any fun memories.
You know, it's, I mean, 1947 they got married. I mean, that's quite a long while, isn't it? I mean, that's... but that marriage was, when you think... photographing the Queen for many years was absolute joy. Photographing Prince Philip for many years was not so good. I mean, he had not a lot of time for the media, and he sort of treated us a bit like telegraph poles, you know, just walked round us. But I admired him for what he did. I mean, he was mentioned in dispatches during the war, and of course he was the captain of his own ship when he was based in Malta, and he gave all that up for to serve the Queen and the country, and a man of that sort of, I mean, he was a powerful man in many ways. He was a great artist. He was a great filmmaker. I mean, some of the films he made of his children, everything he did was perfect. He was a good cricketer. He was a good sailor. He was a good polo player. He was good at everything. And he was good serving this country because, you know, for sort of 70 years, he was walking behind the Queen, shaking hands with the mayoress while the Queen was talking to the mayor. And he did that with total commitment forever until he retired a few years before he died. And that man was an amazing man. And that marriage, I remember one of the last trip to Australia in 2011 in Perth, and a child couldn't get to see the Queen, and Prince Philip lifted her over the barrier and took the flowers off her, and he gave them to the Queen. And the look between the two of them when he did that, I mean, it was something special. And I've seen that a few times with them. I remember once at Sandringham, the same Sandringham church service on Christmas Day, and he wanted to leave early. But the one with the picture that really sums it all up was the last time he was at the cenotaph, and he was on the balcony, and his hip was really hurting him, and he was in great pain. And the Queen pleading with him to go, and he wouldn't do that. You know, to him, being there was his duty.
Yeah.
And he was in so much pain. And I remember as he left, puff of his cheek, that he was getting away to get some relief. That to me summed it all up about that man. You know, even till in his 90s, he was doing his duty for this country. And so looking back, although he didn't like me very much, I quite admired him a lot.
Good. Well, a wonderful marriage and wonderful couple, and I'd like to remember them as often as we can. I believe you've seen the King recently.
I have, yes. So we're down at Devon last week, the Marine training base. Now, that's where the Prince, that was where, when he was the Prince of Wales, he trained when he became a helicopter pilot. And I watched their training on that course, and it is grueling.
Well, they call it the Tarzan course.
Oh, the Tarzan
right?
course. And you need to be Tarzan. I mean, some of the things they do on the ropes, climbing on, I mean, it's unbelievable. And in fact, they gave him a couple of pictures of him in his training. But when I look, he would wear a brand new uniform of the Captain General of the Marines. And I looked at the insignia on it. You know, obviously he's got the crown because he's the king now, but he's also got his wings because he flew in the Air Force. And he's got the parachutes because I remember when he did his first parachute jump down at Hull Lavington. And I was told he's the third one out jumping. I photographed everyone in case of, and he did that jump then, his first ever parachute jump. And then he went on to do more jumps, and he qualifies. And as Colonel-in-Chief of the Parachute Regiment, of course, it's essential he has that. So he's a well-trained, and he's done it all. You know, he's flown planes, he's flown helicopters, he's served in the Navy, he captained a ship in the Navy, and he's an accomplished paratrooper. And so he was quite rightly doing that job. And, you know, I once asked William why he's not getting married till he was 30. And he said, because I have to go to the army, because one day I'll be head of the forces. I'll have to go in the army, I have to go in the Navy, I have to go in the Air Force and the Marines. He said, and then I've got to go to business school, and there's just no time before that. And it's the same with our king now. But no, he was exemplary that day. I remember it was a beautiful, beautiful, it was almost like a summer's day. It was about 17, 18 degrees in the afternoon. And the troops just loved him being there. And they really gave them all a boost. And, you know, the Marines, they're so proud of that, competing that course. You know, it is such a tough thing to do, and to qualify as a Marine, you're something special.